Alright, let us please put aside all the hype for a second and talk about the possibility of Plains of Eidolon being a little bit of a flop, because that's still very much a possibility. This is Digital Extreme's first shot at an open world area, and let's face it, the majority of developers don't do open world well. Okay? Even competent developers that have had experience with making open worlds have tried their hardest and failed. Because their open world didn't have the thing. You know which thing I'm talking about. The thing that makes you walk around in Skyrim and climb mountains and explore forests and caves and cabins and just walk down the river picking up nirnroot and killing mudcrabs. That thing. I've played a lot of open world games that didn't have that thing and got boring after 5, maybe 10 hours. And that's exactly what could happen to Plains of Eidolon. It could just get boring after 5 or 10 hours. This is one of the reasons why I really didn't want to cover any of the new features that are coming with Plains of Eidolon, like the focus rework, the warrior mode, and stuff like that. I don't want to contribute to this hype train. I don't want to add any more speed to this hype train that's already going so fast it's going to crash and burn, even if Plains of Eidolon turns out to be alright. Because at this point, Plains of Eidolon is either gonna have to be an update that gives full-blown sequels a run for their money, or it has to feel like Warframe 2. Yeah, that's not gonna crash and burn, is it? And I get it, I really do. They just want to hype people for Plains of Eidolon so that they jump in and they play the crap out of it. But right now, the hype train just got to a point where I'm starting to get terrified of it. I'll show you what I mean. If you go onto YouTube and you look up the hype trailer for Plains of Eidolon, you know, the one with all the stupid quotes, you'll see that in the comments, Mr. Dank Muffin, the wiki guy, lol, dared to point out that a lot of the quotes felt very generic, and it's true. A lot of the quotes in the trailer are just generic bollocks that doesn't really tell you anything, and some people got really defensive over them. I mean, look at this. Not everyone, of course, there were a lot of reasonable people as well, but some people got really defensive, and you might be asking, what the hell, why would they get so defensive over this? I'm gonna tell you why. Because they're hyped to shit. This is what hype does. Also, skill up mate, I like you, I like your content, but in my honest opinion, if you can't answer the question, does the Plains of Eidolon update get boring after 20 or 30 hours, you have no business giving out quotes like this. And it just keeps getting worse and worse, and it got a lot worse when Destiny 2 was released and it wasn't received very well by a lot of people. It's like overnight, comment sections filled with, Plains of Eidolon is gonna be so much better than Destiny 2, even though I haven't played either of them yet. And to me, you know, someone who is not overly hyped, I'm excited but not overly hyped, what I see is basically a bunch of 12-year-olds arguing whether Battlefield or Call of Duty is the best. It is basically the same thing, just with different games. That's what the hype train did. It took the whole, nah, Battlefield is better, no, Call of Duty is better, and made it its own thing, just with Destiny and Warframe. Now, let me make something very clear. I don't want Plains of Eidolon to fail. God knows I don't want it to fail. I want it to be the best thing that has ever happened to this game. If you've been here for a while, you know that I've been asking for an open area like the Plains of Eidolon for years now. That's something I always wanted in Warframe. It combines two things that I really like. Warframe and open world. And I'm very much looking forward to just running around in Eidolon, mining ore, catching fish, and clearing out Grineer settlements, fighting Eidolons and all of that. I want to go into Eidolon and get lost for hours just doing random things. But as I've said in the beginning, this is their first shot at an open world, as far as I know at least, and it may not be amazing. Okay? So please, try to deflate your hype balloons at least a little bit. It's gonna be better for everyone. Me, you, DE, everyone. Okay? Because if you deflate your hype balloons a little bit, you're not gonna be as disappointed when the open world doesn't turn out to be as rich as the open world in Witcher 3, which, and let's be honest here, it's not going to be. Let's not fool ourselves over here. It's probably gonna be a little bit rushed, so some things are gonna be missing, there are gonna be bugs and glitches that need to be ironed out. And I think it's also gonna be fairly basic when compared to like the top-notch worlds. Now don't get me wrong, it may be amazing. I mean, CD Projekt Red nailed it on their first try. And if there is one company that can pull this crazy shit off, I wholeheartedly believe it is DE. It may flop. We don't know. I haven't played it. You haven't played it, so we have no idea what the open world is like. Is it still engaging after 20, 30 hours? Or does it get boring after 5 or 10 because it doesn't have the thing I was talking about earlier? I don't know, you don't know, and people that do know aren't allowed to talk about it. So once again, please try to deflate your hype balloons at least a little bit and try to slow down the hype train. It's getting kind of ridiculous, okay? And as always, I thank you very much for listening this time around, I guess, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.